Привет всем! Это College Russian. Меня зовут Джейни, по-русски Жанна. And in today's video, we are going to start talking about verbs. We've been talking so much about nouns that it's about time we start talking about verbs. So we're going to specifically focus on the verbs жить, to live, and работать. Okay, so I have bad news and good news about Russian verb conjugations. The bad news is that the infinitive is not a good indicator of how it's going to conjugate. So unlike like French or Spanish where they have certain conjugations for IR verbs and ER verbs and it's all organized like that, in Russian it's not. The infinitive can be very deceptive and you shouldn't rely on it to know how to conjugate the verb. The good news is, however, that there is a system to the endings and you'll get to where you can kind of predict how it's going to conjugate. Usually you have to know one or two of the forms to kind of get a feel for how it's going to conjugate. So let's talk about that system then. So we have our 6 pronouns that you're already familiar with: я, ты, он, она, оно, and кто, who, мы, вы, они. Okay. So these are the endings you can expect to see on the ends of these verbs. Okay, so a ya verb conjugation is going to have an u or a u on the end. For example, the word for I know, я знаю. You can also expect to see sh, мягкий знак, on the end of a t, ты conjugation. So for example, ты знаешь. Он знает, with a t in here. M on the end of the мы conjugation, те on the end of the вы conjugation, and another T but with a different vowel. So these blanks represent a vowel that you're going to be inserting there, and which vowel you put in there will depend on whether it's a first conjugation verb or a second conjugation verb, and I'll give you more information about that later. The infinitive in Russian is translated into English as to do something. So I want to live. I love to work. And this is typically indicated, about 90% of the time, with a t мягкий знак on the end. So you can find an infinitive verb usually because it has a t мягкий знак on the end. So let's do a little practice. See if you can identify the verbs. Even if you don't know what these verbs mean, just based on this system that we have over here in this blue chart, you should be able to look at these sentences and find the verbs in the sentence. So, ты не знаешь, где Саша живет? So do you see any of these endings over here? Oh, look, there's the sh, мягкий знак for ты. Живет, there's the он, она conjugation. So do you know where Sasha lives, or you don't know where Sasha lives? Next one, try this one. Вы хотите пить чай? So this one has 2 verbs in it. One verb is the вы form, see that те on the end? And then the other verb is actually in the infinitive with the t мягкий знак on the end. That was a tricky one. Okay, number 3. Мы изучаем и понимаем русский. Okay, so this pronoun helps you out a little bit, and sure enough, there's the M conjugation and the M conjugation, which is the conjugation for мы. Okay, next. Я работаю и живу в Вашингтоне. So there you go. There's the ya, sure enough, it has the u, as I promised it would, and the u, as I promised it would. So you can start to recognize these verb conjugations. So what I want you to do here is see if you can predict the verb forms. So just a little insider tip. Whatever vowel you have on these inside forms, I call them the inside forms because if you list out all 6 verb conjugations, numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5, so the t form, ana form, мы, and вы form are all going to have the same vowel in it. So you don't need to guess which vowel is going to be in there. It's going to be repeating the same vowel. So, я живу, ты живешь. Okay, so we see this ё here, and it's going to have the same ё in the other forms. So how do you think you might say he lives? So put that vowel in there and then add in the typical he ending. Он живет. How about the мы form? Keep that same vowel in there and put the M on the end. Мы живем. Вы. Keep that same vowel and put the те on the end. Вы живете. And then for the они form, if it's a first conjugation verb, which I'll give you more information about those in a worksheet. If it's a first conjugation verb, all you're going to do to figure out the они form is just add a T onto the end of the я form. So try and figure that out. How would you say они? Just add a T onto the end of the я form and you get они живут. Okay? So this is a first conjugation. If you have the ye vowel or a yo vowel as your vowel in these blank spots, then you know you're working with a first conjugation verb. There's first conjugation and second conjugation, and you can find more information about those by going to College Russian and looking at the verb worksheet that I've linked to in the description below. So I'm not going to go into it in this video because we just don't have time. Okay, so now let's do the verb работать, which means to work. So we're going to keep in mind the fact that you're going to have the same vowel on the inside form. So not on the first and sixth form, but on the 2, 3, 4, 5 form. So я работаю, and then I'll tell you the ты form, and notice that verb. Ты работаешь. Okay, so there's our vowel that we're going to have, and then the sh form, as I promised it would be. Он работает. There's that same vowel that was in this form. Now take a guess what you think the мы form will be. Мы работаем. Вы работаете. And then for the они form, remember if it's a first conjugation verb, you just take the я работаю and put a T on the end for it. Они работают. Okay, so now the next one, I want you to take the verb for to understand and just see if you can guess what these forms are going to be. So, ты понимаешь, он понимает, они понимают. What do you think these three blank verb conjugations are going to be? So, let's check. Take a minute and just see. Okay, here we go. Я понимаю, ты понимаешь, он понимает, мы понимаем, вы понимаете, они понимают. So now we're going to do entire sentences, практика в контексте. And by the way, for these sentences, you're going to be adding in what you learned in the previous videos about prepositional case, because we're going to be saying in and at. So, I live in America. Я живу в Америке. Next, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin lives in Russia. So, Vladimir Vladimirovich живет в России. Notice we're incorporating prepositional case, which was in the previous video. My dad works in an office. Мой папа работает. There's that signature T on the end of the он, она, кто conjugation. В офисе. Prepositional case. Мой папа работает в офисе. Do you work in a university? So what are our typical formal endings on the end of a verb conjugation? We typically get те on the end. So you're going to say, вы работаете в университете? Вы работаете в университете? Next one, where do your parents live? So the word for parents is родители. Где твои родители живут? Or где живут твои родители? And then lastly, who works in this store? Remember, who is treated like a he or a she. So, кто работает в магазине? Кто работает в магазине? If you want more practice on these verbs, like I said, I've linked to a whole big worksheet on verbs with all sorts of practice conjugations with an explanation of first and second conjugations. And that's all down in the link is in the description below, and that'll take you over to collegerussian.com, and you can work on that and practice that. Now, for a fun, so maybe the worksheet is fun for some of you. For others of you, what I want you to do in the next video is I'm going to be telling you about my favorite song, one of my favorite songs, понимаешь, and we're going to be doing some grammar by listening to that song. It's a really fun song. So tune in tomorrow to hear all about that song and get the link to it. Хорошо? Это все. Пока.